I might be upside down. We'll see.
It doesn't automatically rotate.
Yeah, but it's like automatically rotated a really weird way. That's all right.
Hi, everybody. How's this for your dinner?
Right. One of the, they say levitation is one of the things that you can actually learn through meditation. So maybe everybody at home can just like envision me like meditating on the walls. So we're going to take today kind of back to our roots, or at least back to the beginning of the Yoga Sutras. I find it's useful to kind of not rehash, but maybe review some of the previous aphorisms. Because one of the things that I found in my practice is that my perception changes over time, and like as you know, the dots kind of connect, if you will, that the definitions inside of yoga and inside of the philosophical system kind of change, and so things that I think I know at one time kind of shift over time as I perceive or notice other things about my practice. It's kind of weird that way, and I guess I think it's probably one of the reasons why non-attachment is one of the big, pillars inside of yoga, because we are constantly evolving and changing. And because of that, I just think it's good to kind of circle back around and, reevaluate, just relook at, maybe nothing changes, but maybe something that you didn't notice the first time you notice now, whether it be with observation or be with the breath or be with your yoga asana practice. I mean, literally, we're always changing from one minute to the next. And so, I don't know, I just think it's good to go back and just kind of review old sutras, if you will, or the beginning. And because I think that it is like a constant evolutionary cycle, right? I just don't think it's like linear. Like I'm going to start here, and at the end, it's going to be samadhi, and it's like a straight line. And I think that it's more like all over the place and backwards and going all the way back to the beginning and so on and so forth. So with that in mind, I think we will try to go back to the beginning. And for those of us those people who are joining us online, this is a good class to come back to, because we're going to start with all of the basics. So we'll start today by sitting. It's comfortable. Hi, come on in.
Hi.
You here for the meditation?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Come on in. Have a seat. So just find a comfortable seat, whatever that means to you. You can sit cross-legged. You can have one shin in front of the others. You can sit on your shins. It doesn't really matter. You can do full lotus posture if you'd really want to. But ultimately, what we're trying to achieve is just that feeling. We have two bones in our tush. Sometimes it's helpful to kind of pull the flesh away just a little bit. And we want to feel those 2 points of contact in our tush. And from there, we want to sit up nice and tall and get wide across the chest, trying to bring the shoulder blades onto the back body. And I like to open up my palms to face the ceiling and then find a gazing point in front of you where the top of your mouth is parallel with the floor. From here, if you'd like, you can relax the eyes closed. I find that helpful, but if that brings anxiety for you, you can stare at the tip of your nose or softly gaze in front of you. And all we're going to do to just begin is we're just going to close the mouth and start breathing in and out of the nose. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling fully. Exhaling completely. Continue breathing in this fashion through the nose fully. Maybe noticing if your belly expands or your side ribs expands on the inhale. And then on the exhale, breathing all of that same air out, not leaving anything behind. So each cycle of breath is a full inhale all the way down into your tummy, into your hips. And then when you exhale, exhaling all of that same air out. If you have an asana or a yoga asana practice and you want to try ujjayi breathing, where you constrict the base of the throat slightly, you can feel free to do that. It just adds a little bit of an intention to the breath, but it's not necessary. Don't worry if your breath becomes audible. It's perfectly fine and normal. As you begin breathing, see if you can turn your attention away from your mind, away from your thoughts. Simply focus on the breath. Maybe you can focus at the edge of the nostrils where you inhale through the nose. Maybe noticing that your breath seems warm or cool. Maybe you can trace the breath in through the body, in through the nose, down the throat, into the upper chest, middle chest, lower belly, and then out of that lower belly, middle chest, upper chest, throat, mouth, nose. See if you can begin to turn your analytical mind off. No reason to compare right now to some other moment in time. No reason to think, am I doing this right? Or is this the way I was taught before? None of that. Simply let all that go. Let all that analytical thought, all those judgments go. You're simply sitting and breathing. Many of us have an internal voice that we converse with for a large majority of the day. See if you can step back from that conversation. You may notice that those thoughts, those conversations continue even without your effort. That's fine, let them. Just see if you can not engage. So try not to get wrapped up in the conversation. See if you can take a step back and just notice the thoughts as they come up, perfectly fine, but then come back to the breath. Simply sitting and breathing. Inhaling, getting a little bit taller. Exhaling, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Inhaling a little bit taller. Exhaling, taking the shoulders onto the back body. Sometimes I like to imagine that I'm inhaling everything that I need, and then exhaling everything that's no longer serving me. So if I'm carrying around some anxiety, maybe something's troubling me, maybe I've been in like this really negative thought pattern in my mind, worrying about something or someone, just letting all of that go. Returning to the breath, returning to the now. Continue breathing deeply. Maybe noticing your torso expand front to back, side to side. Maybe you notice your belly button move away. And then on the exhale, everything's settling back down. Inhaling, your whole torso blows up like a balloon on the inhale. And then as you exhale, exhaling all that air back out, deflating the balloon. Noticing your thoughts. Have you already gone back into one of the narratives of the mind? And if so, that's okay. Maybe just simply smiling and then returning to the breath. Inhaling fully and exhaling completely. Giving yourself permission to make any adjustments that you may need at any time. Nobody's judging you or grading you on your posture, on your seat. You start feeling uncomfortable in your physical body, change. Don't let the physical body distract you away from your intention of breath. So just gently make any changes. You can even come lying down on your back if you'd like, moving up against the wall. Seated meditative postures take a while to build up those muscles, so don't feel like you're locked in stone and just have to be miserable for 15 or 20 minutes. Returning to the breath. Good. So we're going to start with an equal breath to see if we can match the inhale and the exhale with the same count. So on the next inhale, we're going to inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling 2, 3, 4, filling up completely, and then exhaling 2, 3, 4, exhaling everything out. Inhaling 2, 3, 4, and then exhaling completely 2, 3, 4. Continue with your own pace. You can elongate or shorten the breath for whatever serves you best. See if you can make them equal. If you want to continue counting silently to yourself, feel free. Or if you think you can self-regulate without the need of counting, do that. Noticing your thoughts. Noticing if you've gotten wrapped up in the conversation of the mind. It can be in words or pictures. Come back to the breath. See if you can begin feeling those waves of relaxation. Each inhale filling up your body with all the energy that surrounds us. And then on the exhale, really relaxing. Relaxing the body, relaxing the mind. Simply sitting and breathing. Often when we first start sitting, it feels like the thoughts just continue to come and come and come, that they're never going to let go, but they will. Simply continue with the breath. Don't worry when you get caught up in the lists or stories or conversations. Just as soon as you notice that you're doing it, smile and come back to the breath. It's a practice. There's a book called the Yoga Sutras, written by Sage Patanjali, somewhere between 1000 BCE and 1000 AD. And he lays out the practice of yoga. In the very first chapter, in the very first paragraph, he says, "This is the teaching of yoga. Yoga is the cessation of the turnings of thought. When thought ceases, the spirit stands in its true identity as observer to the world." As we continue to sit and breathe, see if you can embody this idea. When we remove ourselves from a participant in the turnings of thoughts of our mind, and we become the observer of the world. From the perspective of the observer, we are unattached, right? We're not a participant in the game. We are simply standing as a witness to everything that's going on, both internal and external. Maybe you notice that as you step back and continue to breathe, that the narrative continues to run with or without you. But that's okay. Let it run its course. As we detach from the thoughts, as we cease them, as the cessation of the thoughts begin to take hold, we begin to notice more fully what's going on. We may begin to notice how we feel in our physical body and our emotional body. We may feel energetic or lethargic. We begin to notice our thoughts and our thought patterns. The whole world opens up to us just because we're noticing. This is the beginning of yoga. To observe the thoughts and then observe the world. Becoming unattached and being okay with that. Simply sitting and breathing. Inhaling fully and exhaling completely. Inhaling, feeling the belly expand, the crown of our head lift towards the ceiling. And then on the exhale, our shoulders melting away from our ears, wide across the chest. Breathing in, equal part. Breathing out, that same time of the inhale. Maybe beginning to notice the space between the thoughts. And if your mind's just busy today, then just let it be busy. Let it think. We're so conditioned to be in a constant state of thinking, of doing, that it may be difficult to simply stand back and observe. But that's okay. That's just a part of the process. That's the work, quote unquote, to be done. Let the mind get it out of its system. But know that you can just observe, that you don't have to do. That you can sit and breathe, witness and observe the internal and external, and that calm will eventually come. As we don't feed into the energy of the mind, it will eventually run out. It will elongate, smooth out, and eventually the only thing that will be left will be our focus on the breath. Feeling the waves of sensation on the inhalation, and feeling the relaxation of the exhalation. Loosening any gripping that we may find in our mind or our body. Becoming an observer and being okay with whatever is. Not trying to change our situation, our thoughts, our body. Simply observing and letting go. sometimes can be difficult. Our mind likes to be engaged. Our ego likes to think that the thoughts are important, that they define us. As we relax the attention on our thoughts, sometimes they seem to increase in intensity or volume. Simply lean on the breath. The breath is always there for us. Always a barometer for how we're feeling. So see if you can set the intention of breathing deeply and evenly. And through that attention and that focus, we can calm the mind and calm the body. Sometimes the things that come up that we observe aren't pleasant. Sometimes there are things that we have chosen to ignore. It's important not to become non-attached to these as we do all the other thoughts. Simply smile and let it go. Observe the internal and external landscape and breathe. This is the teachings of yoga. Yoga is the cessation of the turnings of thought. When thought ceases, the spirit stands in its true identity as observer to the world. Slowly begin wiggling your toes. Maybe your fingers move a little bit. Bring your hands to heart center in the middle of your chest in Anjali Mudra or sacred prayer. Be thankful for this space, for each other, for our community. Be thankful for these teachings of yoga, but mostly be thankful for yourself, for taking time to work on you. It's not a selfish act. If we don't take the time to work on ourselves, then we'll have nothing to give others. The light in me honors and appreciates that same light in each of you. Namaste. And that's it. Thank you all. Thank you all out there in Facebook land. I record it because I have some friends on Facebook.